7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have me.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. Today I'm super excited to bring you a video that's not just a haircut. I know sometimes you guys like seeing a full haircut, but I really like kind of dissecting technique and showing you guys different ways to do things. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over a graduated bob, but the cool thing about this is gonna be an A-line bob, and I'm gonna cut it two different ways. I'm gonna cut one side over directing everything back to the center, and then the other side I'm gonna use a traveling guide to show you guys the difference between over directing too far, creating that dog ear look that no one likes to see, and then also over directing just slightly back to the previous section with a traveling guide and show you guys the difference. You can cut a graduated bob either way. It doesn't make it wrong. I think the great thing about this video is it's gonna help you understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the result that you're gonna get at the end. So hope you guys like this video. Let me know in the comments below. Happy to be back. Let's get started with our step-by-step. Here we go. All right, guys, so for today's experiment, what we're gonna do is we're gonna part the head straight down the center and then straight down center back. The reason I'm going to do that is because I'm separating both sides. I'm going to cut one side one way, and I'm going to cut the other side a different way. So we're going to start off by taking that vertical line down center back, then we're going to go horizontal across the back down to directly behind the ear. So a nice horizontal line, maybe a slight diagonal forward, but not too much. And then we're going to clip it off. I want to start by creating a solid baseline in the back. So I'm going to use my 339 comb from YS Park to hold the hair using the wide teeth of the comb, so I'm not pulling it out of its natural fall, but just holding it still while I cut it. And then I go through with my Mizutani Pen Slim scissor. You can see how skinny that blade is. It's also a nano powder metal scissor, so it grips the hair really well, cuts really great lines. One of my new favorite scissors that we have on freesaloneducation.com. So now I'm going to give a little saturation to the hair. I never want the hair to really dry up. As I'm going through and I'm cutting the hair, if the hair starts to dry, the tension just gets different, the density is different, so I just want to keep that nice and consistent. So I go through, I show you guys exactly how we're going to hold the hair. We're going to start on the left-hand side. Everything's going to be over-directed directly over our very first initial section. So what I'm cutting now is the guide that's going to stay stationary through this entire left side of the haircut, and I'm going to over-direct everything over there. What I wanted to really just show you guys in this haircut is the fact that if you over-direct things too far and you keep over-directing them, a lot of weight gets built up. And I have a lot of questions on this channel about the dog ear look or the heaviness behind the ear. How do you make that go away? Well, this is the video for you guys. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and help you understand why it happens. So anytime that you're over-directing, my rule of thumb for over-direction in hair is to make sure I don't go around too many corners. The way I break down the corners on the head is to really look at it like a clock. So if center back is 6 o'clock, behind the ear is 9 o'clock, and then the front of the head is 12 o'clock. And if you look at that, if you think of those numbers as corners, I would never take anything past 9 o'clock and bring it all the way back to center back, which is 6 o'clock, because I'm going around too many corners. So I'm safe at 7, I'm safe at 8, bringing that back, over directing it back to the center back portion. But then once I get to that 9 o'clock point, that's as far as I'll push it before it starts to get way too heavy. Somebody said to me a long time ago in a haircutting class, if you took a baseball and you try to throw the best curveball you could throw out the door and around a corner, it wouldn't make it around the corner because gravity would pull it down. And that's really what we're working with, guys. If you think about it, gravity is pulling this hair down. So if we try to swing the hair around too many of those corners, it's just going to fall flat, it's going to fall heavy, and then you're going to end up with that dog ear effect as your end result, which is fine. But if you don't know what to do with all that extra weight, then you're not going to know what to do with the haircut at the end, and then your guest is going to leave with extra heavy hair that they don't know what to do with either. So just make sure don't over direct too far. You can see right now I'm at that 11 o'clock position with the head, and I'm bringing that hair all the way back to 6 o'clock, so it's just way too heavy when it swings around. Doesn't make it wrong, just makes it different, makes it not manageable. So we're going to have to go in a dry cut and remove some of that weight. Why would we do that if we can do it all at the same time? So now we're going to work on the opposite side. You can see how much length that pushes forward. I'm going to grab a guide from my left side to start off on the right side. The right side now, we're going to be working with a traveling guide. So I'm going to take a nice vertical section. Every section I've been taking throughout this entire haircut is a see-through section, about a 1/2 inch wide, and I just work. The only difference I'm working on this side is that my fingers are pointing down. I always want to be combing the new hair towards my guideline. I talk about this in pretty much every video. So you want to be combing the new hair into the guide. If you take the guide and you comb it into the new hair, you move your guide and you end up cutting the hair at a length that you didn't want. So now we're going to work through the right side, taking those 1/2 inch sections, bringing it over to the previous, not 6 o'clock. So we go, when we move to 7 o'clock, we bring that back to 6. When we move to 8 o'clock, we bring that back to 7. So it's a traveling guide throughout the back. It's going to give us a nice solid base. It's going to give us a very similar look in the back as if we were to over direct it all backwards, but it's going to be much softer around the corner. Hardest part about this point in the haircut is just staying consistent. Obviously, keeping a stationary guide will definitely leave you a more consistent haircut because you're just bringing it to one place. When you start traveling with a guide, it gets a little bit more difficult. So just really stay focused on how you comb the hair, where your hand position is, and just make sure that you're exactly where you want to be before you cut the hair. So now once I got to that 9 o'clock position, everything is going to come straight back to me. So now I'm over directing, but there's no more corners. So I don't have to worry about that extra weight that's going to happen in the front because the head stays pretty flat until you get to the temple area, a little bit past that, and it starts to curve at the forehead. So I work all the way down the line, over directing everything back to a stationary guide now, and I don't end up with those heavy dog ear effect on the haircut. You can see just filing through. Even though I'm working with a stationary guide, I don't pull everything back. There's no condensed cutting happening. I could bring everything back, but the problem with that is you don't get a clean line with your haircut. So I love taking those small sections, working my way through. Slow and steady wins the race. No reason to rush yourself through the haircut. And you can see I get the same type of angle. It's not as long because we're not doing as much over direction, but it's a much softer feel to the haircut without that dog ear effect that we talked about. So now we're going to go through with the blow dry. I'm using my Ergo paddle brush, also the Dyson blow dryer. I have a full review of that blow dryer on the channel if you want to check it out. The one thing I would say to you guys, it's definitely an expensive blow dryer. It blow dries hair, very similar to other blow dryers, but I do really like this blow dryer. I would also say to you, buy great scissors before you spend $400 on a blow dryer. I would say it's the last thing that you need to spend that much money on because I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but it is a cool tool to have. I am really enjoying using it. Also using the Vibrastrait iron. This is one of my favorite flat irons. I have it available on freesaloneducation.com. It vibrates, which allows less friction as it's going over the hair, so it creates less damage, and it also just has a nice smooth feel to the passover on the hair. So definitely love that iron. I go through and I iron the hair exactly the way I cut it, so you can see that same type of over direction. Following the round of the head gives me a nice smooth outcome on the look. I'm not going to go through and dry cut this haircut, but I wanted you guys to see the end result the way that it is. We can obviously go through and do dry detail work later on, but this is the comparison of each side. Hope you guys like this video. Definitely let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. All right, guys, like always, if you like this video, then make sure you hit the like button below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. I got a lot more videos to come. We're getting to the end of the year, and I'm super excited for next year. I have a ton of things coming that are in the works that I think you guys are gonna love. Thank you guys for the support. If you're looking for some more tools, I have an awesome special going on right now at freesaloneducation.com. You can get scissors, combs, clips, mannequin heads, tripods, All of that stuff is for sale on freesaloneducation.com. Appreciate the support from you guys as always. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have me sing.
What's up, guys? Welcome to today's vlog. Today what we're gonna go over is a pretty fun haircut. I decided to go curly this time. I know that you guys request curly haircuts. I do have curly mannequins. I know you guys don't always like the mannequins, but to be honest, it's so much easier to cut a mannequin, do the technique for you guys. Really, these videos are all about technique. So what we're gonna go over today is a technique to cut a short kind of faux hawk on curly hair. Here is the end result. So you can see how it's nice and clean and tight throughout the sides. You could transfer that into straight hair as well. So I just worked my way around. I'm gonna show you guys that step by step. And then we built the weight up into the top. So I love the shape of the haircut. The inspiration came from this picture right here. One sec. So the inspiration came from a couple different pictures that I found on the internet with curly hairstyles. So this is the first one. You can see there, that is pretty much how we built up the weight in this haircut. That was the overall shape. Obviously on this haircut, it's a lot tighter on the sides, but with using a mannequin, you go a little bit shorter, but it's easy to go tighter. So if you wanna go tighter with this haircut, you definitely can. The other one was this tapered curly haircut, which I really liked. So I got a little bit of inspiration from that as well. I'm gonna do that haircut in a later video because I really like the shape and it has a lot more length on the top. But for today, we're gonna do the curly faux hawk. Also, to let you guys know, we're gonna do a giveaway in this video. So the giveaway is gonna come from whatever is in this box. So let's open it up and see. So we're gonna give away a Vibrastrait iron to anybody that subscribes to this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Let's open up this beauty so you can see it. Get the paperwork out of there. Ooh, pretty. So here's the deal with the Vibrastrait iron. The Vibrastrait iron has vibrating plates on it. So what it does is that as it passes over the hair, it doesn't cause as much friction, which causes less heat damage. It also allows for a way smoother pass through with the iron. It also heats up very quick, and it has a digital dial so you can set the heat temperature on the professional version. This is a product that we sell on freesaloneducation.com, and they wanted to give away one to you guys. So if you're interested in winning the Vibrastrait iron, then make sure you subscribe to our channel, and also let me know in the comments below that you did subscribe or you are already subscribed, and you could win this iron. Let's get started with our step-by-step video. Here we go. All right, guys, so I'm going to start off by parting the mannequin. We're going to do a diagonal forward line coming from the back crown area down to just below the parietal ridge. So nice forward, diagonal forward feel, and then I'm going to twist that up and clip it away. Almost like creating a more of a horseshoe shape on the head, but definitely lower than normal because I want some of that weight to play with later on. Then what I'm gonna do is create a triangle in the back coming off of the crown down to the high point of the occipital bone to create my last section. The scissor that I'm gonna use for today's haircut is the Pen Slim scissor from Mizutani. It's definitely a really great scissor for precision cutting. It's a nice skinny blade. I thought maybe you guys were getting bored of me telling you what scissors I was using all the time, but I didn't. So I left it out of the last video, and turns out you asked me which scissor I used in the last video. So I'll just keep doing that. So this is the Pen Slim scissor from Mizutani, one of the brand new scissors that they have. So I'm using my 339 comb. I start off by taking a small 1/2 inch vertical section in the back. That's going to start my guideline. And then just like in the last video when we talked about traveling guides, this is a traveling guide all the way around the head. So my goal is not to really push weight anywhere. I want a nice clean feel, like I said, a seamless feel to this haircut. You could see that there's a slight lower elevation up towards the occipital bone, but I'm trying to keep that more at a 90-degree feel so that we don't have a lot of weight buildup. The one thing with curly hair, it's definitely going to be different than straight hair, is that right now I don't really need to try to create a shape. I don't need to shift my angles to create more elevation in this haircut because the curls do that for you. On straight hair, you shift your finger angle so that you can build up a little extra weight to start to create a shape. That's the one thing that I really love about curly hair, and why I think people are a little more scared of curly hair is because it starts to create its own shape very quickly. So just be very careful with your finger angle and the type of elevation you're working with. So working my way through, one thing that you will notice is sometimes I hold my scissor different than others. It really has to do with where I'm elevating the hair and what makes me feel comfortable. So when I'm higher on the head shape, I definitely go palm to palm, cut normal. And then right now you could see when I get a little bit lower with my elevation, it's more comfortable for me to shift my thumb into the other side of the scissor to give it just a little bit different hold on the scissor to make the angle that I'm cutting the hair more comfortable for me. So now look at my finger angle, and what you'll notice, what I just did was I recombed and shifted my hand up because I was starting to feel like I was building too much weight around that corner. So it's just in mid haircut, you can make those shifts. I think a lot of people just feel like they need to stick with their guide exactly the way it is, but sometimes that guide needs to shift and change. So now I've kind of created another guide to work down the side panel of the head, which is much lighter and won't have as low of elevation, so I won't be building up too much weight around that parietal ridge area. Now I'm just going to go through with the tip of the scissor. This is actually a really good view of how skinny that scissor blade is. The Pen Slim, if you like a lightweight scissor that's super powerful, this is the best scissor that you can get because it barely can feel it in your hand, but it's got the nano powder metal, so it grips the hair just like the DB20 scissor that I love so much. So now once I got that side cut pretty much at the length that I want, I do a little scissor over comb just to kind of tighten the side in a little bit. So now we're going to work on the opposite side. What you'll notice is my finger angle changes. Now I'm pointing my fingers down. Key thing in this is to make sure that you keep that same elevation. Some people do this a little bit differently. Some people will do a kind of a back combing feel to it. I think that this is the most simple way for me to stay consistent in a haircut, but I definitely have to make sure that my elbow doesn't drop and I don't build more weight than I want to, because naturally when your elbow's up in the air, it wants to fall down. So I'm going to work my way through the back, still continuing that traveling guide. Everything is very symmetrical to the opposite side, but I'm just working through, cleaning up, keeping those seamless layers happening. And the other thing I want you to notice is how cleanly I'm combing. You might not see me have to clip the hair away when I'm cutting straight hair, but when I'm cutting curly hair, I like to take my parting, clip the hair away to keep it nice and clean, because the one thing about curly hair is it can get a little confusing where your guide is. Your guide's not as strong coming through the hair, and also you can get kind of lost if you get tangled up in the rest of the hair. So just make sure that you take your clean section, clip it all away, and you'll be good to go. I use a YS Park clip. They have a lot of tension to them. And also those little holes on the clip help grip the hair, which is really nice. It's a lot better than some of those plastic clips out there, or the butterfly clip, things like that. It just holds the hair nice and tight, clean to the head. It allows you to work a lot easier. So now in the back, this is that triangle section. We're going to continue that vertical feel, continue the clean sectioning, clipping the hair away. The one thing that we're going to change up in this triangular section, and this is what I talk about, taking each panel and doing things different with it to create the outcome that you're looking for. This one is a stationary guide, so everything's going to come to the center back. I'm just going to keep taking vertical sections around that corner, over directing them back to me. What that's going to do is pop a little extra weight into the corners of the head so that this isn't a fully round shaped haircut. That wasn't my goal. I wanted that kind of corner feel to it to build up a little more shape, be a little more flattering on her head shape. So you can see that I over direct the hair, and we'll get another view of it here on the opposite side, over directing everything to the center back of the head shape. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing the weight right behind the ear, just slightly behind the ear, and then when I get that weight there, then I go in with a tease cutting technique and just soften it a little bit. So just over directing all the way over, pushing that extra weight. I'm going to show you a good angle of it here. You can see that extra weight. A little bit of tease cutting just softens the edge, but still keeps that shape in there. So that's a cool little tip when you're working with curly hair around a corner. Now, over directing everything back to me. We're starting over the crown. This is not going to be a stationary guide, but we're going to start it off over directing it back because what I want to do is have that extra weight in the crown. I also don't want to round that off too much. Have a little bit of a bulkier shape in the back. Then I split everything down the center and I cut more of a triangular top. So if you think about, we're cutting short down by the ear, so longer in the center. The center is going to be the longest point. That's what gives it that faux hawk feel that we're looking for in the outcome of this haircut. Notice where my finger was when I took my first section and cut, and now I've moved a little bit further up on the head, and I'm going to do the same thing. Every section that I take is going to come back to the previous. So I will be building up weight towards the front, but I don't want to over direct everything all the way back in this particular haircut because I'm not looking to have that much length in the very, very front of the cut. So as we move into the front, the big thing that's going to change here is I'm going to over direct this a little bit further back because what I wanted to do is push that extra length into the front for later on so we can go in and really customize it. So it's just giving me that little bit of extra length, but you can see the angle that I've been cutting the whole time. That's the finger angle that I've been using. So you can see how it gets longer in the very center. That's what gives it the faux hawk feel. So if you're trying to cut a faux hawk on straight hair as well, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut more of a triangular feel to your finger angle and preserve that length in the center. So what you'll notice is I'm cutting palm to palm. The reason I chose to go palm to palm instead of cutting on top of my fingers is because palm to palm allows me to get tighter towards the bottom of my finger, towards the ear. That's where the hair is closest. If I were to cut on top of my finger, my palm and my fingers kind of get in the way. If it was on the opposite side, it would be fine. But because I'm cutting on this side of the head, I don't want my palm in the way, or the back of my hand, the bottom of my hand in the way of me getting close and tight to the head to keep it as consistent as possible. So it's a little trick for you guys as well. Just tilt the guest's head towards you a little bit and you can cut palm to palm on the side. So finishing up, same thing. We're going to add a little bit of Bricato mousse to the hairstyle. We're going to diffuse this nice and curly, keeping obviously the natural curl to it. But what I wanted to do was diffuse it. Then we're going to go in and do a little bit of dry cutting techniques over top. So we're using the Dyson blow dryer with the diffuser. I'm really loving this blow dryer. This is not a paid thing whatsoever from Dyson. I don't think they're giving anybody money at this point. They're just selling really expensive dryers, but I really do love this blow dryer. Using it constantly in the salon. It dries the hair super fast. This video is sped up 2 times faster than it normally would be, which isn't a lot. It's like the smallest amount of being sped up, but the hair is actually drying. Like it's pretty much dry. When I take it off of the section, it's dry. So it does speed up your drying time quite a bit. So now the important part, getting into a little just freehand scissor work. This is the thing that I really love about curly hair as well, is that I can go in freehand. I've got my 7-inch Mizutani solid scissor, and I'm just going in freehand. I'll mess up the hair a little bit, but what I'm doing is just grooming the shape. So let's go over a couple things with this technique. So first off, you want to make sure that you have practiced and can just move that one steady blade before you start working on this technique, because you want to be nice and consistent as you pass over the head. Also, I'm not taking off a lot of hair. All I'm doing is just softening the corners of the shape that I created to get the finished look that I wanted. So I go through, scissor over, it's just like scissor over comb, but no comb, because if you run a comb in curly hair, sometimes it doesn't work that well. As you can see, I'm fighting through that. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to point cut through the top portion of this haircut just to shorten the length in the front. you don't really know. We over directed it back and I pushed that weight forward so that later on now I can go through and see what that length's really going to look like in the end result, and I can cut it more if I want to. So now we're going to go through just cleaning up the edges of the haircut, a little scissor over comb work, again using that 7-inch Blacksmith Fit solid scissor, and that is the end result. We're going to do a little bit of hairspray, style it up. If you guys have any questions, post them in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the cut. All right, guys, if you liked this video and you like this haircut, then hit the like button, hit the share button, share this video with all of your friends. And also remember, if you're looking for new tools, go to freesaloneducation.com. We got tons of deals going on. Mizutani scissors, YS Park combs, ergo brushes, carving combs, all kinds of tools on there. At great prices, so go check it out. Thank you guys always for the support. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks. And guys, remember, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button below because you could win this Vibrastrait iron. Good luck. Let me know in the comments below if you've subscribed. Thanks.